really want free stuff from companies, here's what you gotta do. What's up, bros? Welcome to this very special viewer requested video, my DJ Gear 2020. Today I am inside of my storage unit and I am going to be going over everything. I believe it was about 2 years ago that I did my last gear tour. Well, a lot has changed since then. We've since moved into a bigger unit. Last time that I showed you guys my gear, I was actually in 2 baby lockers. I was in 2 5x5 lockers. Now what you're currently seeing is a 10x15, so about 150 square foot unit. The company has grown and so has the gear that we use. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want to show you guys is my gear checklist. We've all been there where we get to an event, we get to a gig, and we're missing something. So one of the things that I've done is I've created this checklist wall. It's actually just my door right here. And as I'm loading stuff into the lift, I'm going through the checklist. So this checklist right here is actually labeled the essentials. These are things that come with me to each and every single one of my events. We have the add-ons checklist. This is usually lights. Most of my events typically take everything on this page here. We have a checklist for the photo booth. We have a checklist for ceremony and cocktail. Special effects. I always want to make sure that I have my special effects with me if they do have any special effects. And we have media, which means TV. Obviously, as far as packages goes, I can just pull it up on my phone and see exactly what they got. And now let's get to the fun stuff, the actual storage itself. So now that we are inside of the storage unit, I can kind of walk you through all the gear, all the equipment. I know it looks a little bit messy, but rest assured, this, my friends, is what I like to call organized chaos. As you guys can see, there's a lot going on, so I'm going to do my best to show you each and every single piece of equipment, why I have it, and how I use it, what application it has. So the way I divided my unit is actually by department, more or less. So this department right here is our bigger stuff. It houses our bigger flight cases, it houses our photo booth, and it houses some of our heavier stuff, some of our heavy duty stuff that doesn't necessarily come out with us at every single event. Right behind that, we see our facade slash table department. Next up, we have our totem department. Behind that, we have a bit of storage as well as our up lights. Right next to that, we have our subwoofer and speaker, followed by our tripod section and our dolly section. This department is called our YouTube department. Right back there is usually where I house all this gear that gets sent to me because I do reviews for YouTube. Next up, we have our service slash parts department. It's pretty self-explanatory there. And up there, we have some more YouTube stuff. This is our most important section. It houses some of the things that come out with us the most. Up top is just some photo booth stuff. Work our way down, we have our cocktail speakers, our Bose S1. We of course have a cable bag, facade lights, Airstream DMX bridge, microphones, cable bag, toolbox, and lastly, we of course have our moving heads, followed by base plates and more tables. So now that you guys have seen the departments, let's actually talk about the equipment itself. So first off, let's start off by admiring this beauty right here. This shelf has been a game changer. I love this guy. I got it during the holidays. They had a good deal going on at Home Depot, so I picked this up. This is actually a Husky heavy duty shelf. If you guys look around, these are just Amazon basic shelves. Those back there are Amazon basic shelves. These are pretty good. They're sturdy. Look, they can even hold speakers. However, I wanted something heavy duty and I needed something that was wide enough to fit our TVs. So in starting, I'll show you guys my TVs. My TVs are housed in this Pro X case. These are actually individual cases, and I did make a video on these, and in there I have 65-inch TVs. Over here on the side, we have a trash can, because I usually do a lot of work here, and we have some base plates for my gravity stands. My gravity stands hold both my photo booth and my monogram projector. Those silver plates are actually stands for step and repeat when we do step and repeat. I've since stopped doing step and repeats because I like selling people the photo booth better than the step and repeat, so I don't do step and repeats as much as I used to. And lastly, I have this X stand here, which has been fabulous. I use this for my ceremonies, so what I typically do is I bring this X stand and I place my microphone right on top of that. If we come above, we have my photo booth. This photo booth actually used to be white, as you guys can see there. There's a little chip, but I actually plasti dipped it, and now it's a black photo booth. I like it in black a lot better. I know white is the trend, but I don't know, it just looks better to me in black. And inside of that photo booth is a Canon T6i. That's a DSLR camera. I've also gone ahead and put a small decal. As you guys can see, I'm big on decaling everything. I think it just looks so awesome when you roll up to your gigs and you have these decals on all your equipment. Everybody's like, damn, there must be a big company or something. Little do they know, it's just some guy working out of a storage unit. These are two RX1 printers, DMP printers. This is what we use to print photos from the photo booth. To the left, we have my Ape Lab stuff. We have my cans and my maxis. This right here is actually a label that has my phone number, and it's also got all the inventory information. Just in case we do lose something, you know, most people do want to do the right thing. Hence why on the bottom they say, please do the right thing.
I have a tendency to lose things. Everything. But to an astonishing degree, things seem to find their way back to me. I attribute this to the fact that I write my phone number and please do the right thing on everything I might lose.
Also, all my lights, all my up lights are tagged with similar stickers. I have big ones, smaller ones, and I'll leave a link to where you can buy these labels and just print them out at home. They're pretty easy to make. And right on top of that, it's actually what's powering my storage unit. So this is actually a battery supply, and it is a beefy battery supply. This is a silent generator, and I use this a lot more than you would think because most storage units don't actually give you power. So what I've done is I bought some shop lights on Amazon, and look at how bright those things are. This is just one. I think it was like 30 bucks on Amazon. This was my old Loftech floodlight. What I did is I ran both of these cables down and into here. I also have this other one that I bought from Home Depot. The same idea. This thing will actually power a speaker. That's how strong it is. I bought the biggest battery that they had for the Ryobi products. I do have a bunch of Ryobi tools, so that's why I had this. The reason why I have this big beefy one is actually because this will run a photo booth. This will run a DJ system. This will also run ceremonies. And I've done ceremonies with this thing, and literally at the end of the ceremony, I've only used it like maybe 1%. After an hour and a half of use, we have 98% left. So this one might have been a little bit excessive to buy. I think there's a Yeti 400. I think that one might have been a little bit more, it would have been a little bit more economical. That's the word I'm looking for, I think. This is a heavy duty silent generator. For any DJs looking for a generator, this is the way to go. They are not cheap, but they are awesome. Hands down, the best. This is the best generator you can get if you're a mobile DJ. Up next, we have an empty spot. This is actually where another one of these cases goes that houses all my camera gear that I bring to all my events. Self-explanatory, I'm using my camera gear right now, so that's why it's not there. Next up, we have this Husky bag, which houses our plates for our TVs. And the plates that I use for TVs are these truss plates right here. However, I did have to jerry rig these a little bit because I don't use truss totems anymore. I do use global truss totems now. So as you guys can see, I got my Global Truss America clamp, and I had to kind of move it around a little bit so that they could fit, because I had glow totems, if you guys remember. Case next to it had all my HDMI cables, all the stuff that we use for TVs. The reason I like to keep all this together is because I want to make sure that I never forget anything. So in here I have 2 sets of HDMI, really long 50-footers, and then I have standard, I think these are 20-foot ones. We typically always use the 20-foot ones because we typically put the TVs right next to us. However, there are instances where we do need to do longer runs. And then on the bottom here, we have a bunch of different tools, such as a leveler to make sure that we level our TVs. We have power cables as well as backup power cables for our TV. We have multiple of these splitters. This is the splitter that I use. I use a MacBook Pro, so this is a USB-C splitter. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can run up to 3 TVs with this. I like having that third option just in case we have to troubleshoot or something like that. And I typically bring 2 options, so this is a cheaper one that I typically don't like to use, but I do like to have as a backup. The case right beside that one houses my projector, and I've made videos on my projector. It's an Epson projector, and this is the Colorado Sound and Light mount that I use for my projector. That is all housed in here. It's an SKB case. At the very top, we have our Nimbuses. These are actually pretty light, so I can just toss them up there at the end of the night. I do use 2 Nimbuses for my gigs, and I store them inside of these Eliminator light disco ball bags. So that is where the Nimbuses live. And on top up there, I have my fake Yeti cooler that I bought from Walmart. That's not actually a Yeti cooler. I wanted a Yeti cooler because, you know, I wanted to be down with all the cool kids, but I can't afford one. It's way too expensive. I wasn't going to pay $200 for a cooler. Staying with the special effects, we have our CO2 blasters. Club Cannon actually sponsored 2 of my videos, so I have quite a lot of these CO2 blasters. They've just been so awesome to me, and these things are so badass. I love the new case as well because it's actually a little bit slimmer than the old case, and it fits the new gun. This case is dope because it's got the locking wrench, it's got space for the washers, and it's got the CO2 hose. I'm gonna love this guy. That right there is the scissor backdrop for the photo booth, and you guys have seen this multiple times. I have 3 different color backdrops. I have a white, a black, and a gold one. Most people usually opt for the black. Those right there are stanchions for the photo booth. That's to make sure people aren't cutting in line. It's mostly kids that we have issues with. I hate those things. They're not easy to carry around. Right next to it, it's our prop bag, and it's actually in this Atom Mix bag. It's actually made by Ariba Cases, so it's pretty self-explanatory what's in here. We got hats. We have this little dishwasher dryer thing. This is actually meant to hold dishes, but we use it to hold up all our signs. And we have signs right back here, so all those signs there. I do swap these out on the regular because they do get ugly, and once your props start looking ugly, you start looking sloppy. So I typically like to put in fresh props after about, I don't know, a few gigs or so. I also have a photo album in here, a scrapbook that we make for the guests. By the way, side little plug, they're not paying me to say this, but I get a lot of questions about my photo booth stuff. Video coming on that soon, but a lot of you guys ask me about where I get props for my photo booth and where I get the foam stick. I get them from the exact same place. Again, they're not paying me to say this. They really should, because I know a lot of you guys are going to flock over there. They are all purchased from Sherman Specialty. Sherman Specialty. Highly recommend that you call them up. Tell them you're a friend of DJ Barr, because they'll give you a good deal if you're telling you're a friend of DJ Barr. Don't use their website because their website has sticker price, and I get way better pricing when I call them up. They sell these really cool sun stashes that everybody loves. They actually have the best price that I've seen. They sell them for anywhere between $2 and $5. Amazon usually sells these things for like $8 and $15 each. That's crazy for props that are just bound to get stolen. So again, Sherman Specialty. If you want to get foam sticks, that's where I get them. If you want to get props for your photo booth, that's where I get them. Moving on, this is our most important section. This is actually what comes out with me to most of my events. I've already made videos on this bag right here and this bag right here. It houses all my cables, and if you want to see a full detailed list of what's inside of these bags, I made a video on them. We have my Bose S1s. These are my cocktail speakers. I've since kind of stopped using them and opted to use my Maui system. More on that when I make the video. I love the Atom Mix cases from Ariba. They are kind of like their Ariba cases, but a lot better. They have way thicker padding, so you can beat it up a lot more than you can with the other ones. This one houses 4 element hexes that I use for when I'm feeling lazy and don't want to DMX my Facade. This little case from Harbor Freight actually houses my Airstream DMX bridge. I actually have 2 Airstream DMXs. The other one is over here, It's in this one here. These are donor DMX cables, Airstream box right here, and a mixer for ceremonies. So when I have weddings with ceremonies, I typically bring this. If I don't have to do ceremony, then I'll bring that Airstream over there with just the Airstream inside. We work our way down. We have my mics. I have 3 mics. They are all the same microphones, super expensive microphones, because you know I gotta have the best of the best. These actually aren't the best of the best, but they are the best microphones that I can afford. They're each one $1,200 microphones, and I have 3 of them, so you do the math. They're very expensive microphones. So this Pelican case houses my microphone, and look at that, another one of those Yamaha mixers. So I have my antennas right here, my microphone right here, and the actual receiver. And in there I have the power cables, some XLRs, and you guys get it. You guys get it. On the bottom has the exact same thing, except it's rack mounted. This is a 4U Gator case rack mount thing. There's 2 mics in there. Both of them are these exact same one. I already made a video on this. However, I did swap the case. I was using an SKB case, and that SKB case absolutely sucks. I hate that SKB case. Garbage. So I opted to get a traditional flight case rack mount. That's a Gator one. I really want to make a video on this toolbox because I think it's something that every single DJ should have. I just don't know how many views it would get. There's a ton of important stuff in here that we take to every single event. In here I have tools, I have zip ties, tape, and batteries. I have my truss pins, this little box opening shank. In the parts department, there's a bunch of miscellaneous that constantly break, like my mic clips. These constantly break. Some USB ports for the photo booth. These are all different sorts of cables that I use. It's more or less to help video guys out, videographers, whenever they don't have the right adapters. So we have a couple of HDMIs, a couple of those aux cords, a couple of RCAs, and lastly, of course, we have pens. And then there's some loose items here on the bottom. We have a shit ton of batteries, we have scissors, we have this awesome extender. I made a video on this one. It's from Colorado Sound and Light. It locks to the wall so that your plugs never come out. This right here is my absolute favorite. Everybody buy one of these. I'll link it down below. It's a electric screwdriver. I have a dB meter in here for those shitty venues that like to complain. You know, every DJ needs a good flashlight right here. This is called a kilowatt. This is to measure power. Damn, I shouldn't have showed you guys all that stuff because now I don't have that video that I want to make. Gonna be awesome. Let me know if you guys like me to do a detailed video on this. I probably shouldn't have done that. I pretty much spoiled the video. Lastly, on the side, we have some additional tables. I only use 6-foot tables, so 2 6-foot tables. I have another 6-foot table here. This one is right next to my Facade because these two always go out together. Sometimes when we do have photo booth, I do bring this one out, this black one right here. Yeah, I have a ladder so I can reach all that stuff up there. Behind this ladder, we have my truss plate. Big ones for the TVs and the little ones for when we don't have TVs. Inside of these beautiful Pro X cases are my babies. These right here are my Focus Spot 3Zs. They are freaking dope. You guys have seen this in all my videos, so I don't need to go into detail. 2 of the exact same cases housing the exact same thing. So I get a lot of questions from you guys asking me why I use so much American DJ stuff. Hey, there's Shelving, there's this, there's that. And the main reason why I love American DJ is because they were the first ones to give me a shot. There's 2 companies that I absolutely just am forever grateful for, and that's ADJ and Jose Technology. You see, a lot of you guys have followed my journey. If you've been watching for a long time, you guys kind of knew my situation. 3 years ago, I did not own anything. I was pretty much a broke club DJ. And when I started making YouTube videos, the first people that said, how can we help you? Can we send you stuff so you can show on your videos? Those people were American DJ and Jose Technology. And ever since then, man, I have just loved American DJ. I've bought a ton of American DJ stuff with my own money, and they've also sent me a ton of stuff. So I am forever grateful for those 2 companies right there, American DJ and Jose Technology. They sent me the white ones. I'm forever grateful for that. And then last year, actually, I bought 2 with my own money. Love those guys at American DJ. Shout out to American DJ. Shout out to all the guys that work there. Moving on, it's time for our parts department. Oh yeah. This is gonna be a fun one. Here we have cases housing a ton of different cables, except this one. This one, you guys can see it's all messed up because it's all miscellaneous stuff and parts and stuff that, you know, what's in that is usually accessories that come with some lights or, you know, things like remotes and stuff like that, that I just chug in there. So this is the only one that's not really organized. The rest, they are all very organized. This one right here houses all my DMX cables and all my aux cables, all my cables that aren't XLR. DMX cables look just like XLR cables. So this is where I have all my XLR cables right here. So that story that I just shared to you about Hosa Technology, they decided they wanted to kind of sponsor my YouTube channel. So they basically say, hey man, we want you to use all Hosa stuff. So I switched to all Hosa stuff. They literally replaced each and every one of my cables, which is now why I have these backup live wire cables, which is what I was using before, and switched to all Hosa cables. Down here we have all IEC cables and PowerCon cables. There you see some PowerCon cables there on the bottom. And I'm a bit of a neat freak, so I have these all labeled. Power cables are my IECs. I like this one, really long extension cords. These are really long extension cords. We have 25 footers, 50 footers in there, 100 footers in there. There's just a bunch of really long extension cords. And lastly, this is our new and unboxed stuff. This is all new cables that I have not used, all Hosa stuff. Some of that stuff I bought, like those DMX Terminators right there. Little ones, these little ones house a bit more of the intricate stuff. So this is all like clamps and pins and baby hammers. This baby hammer is a game changer, by the way. Everybody needs to go out and purchase this baby hammer. This is ideal for pins, for truss pins. So you guys can see there, clamps. Next up, we have harnesses. These are literally what they say, literally harnesses. In here, I have some new stuff from Club Cannon. These are actually covers for CO2 tanks. I've been waiting for them to come out with something like this for a long time, and nobody had anything. So Club Cannon finally came out with covers for the CO2. This top one houses all my manuals for all my different lights. This one that's labeled tape, can you guess what that one has? Tape, a bunch of different tapes and stuff. By the way, I love using 3-inch tape. I used to use the 2-inch tape, but the 2-inch tape is garbage. I love using 3-inch. 3-inch is the way to go. I'll leave a link to where you can buy these too. And this one is my leftover stuff from gigs. Sometimes we find little knickknacks at gigs and I just throw them in here. More or less what I have here, bunch of different photo booth prints that get left behind. This is more spare parts and tools department. So we have some clamps here for cables and clamps here for cables. Some more of those bags that I showed you guys. I'm a bit of a neat freak that are inside of that toolbox. And I usually keep some of these inside of the photo booth stuff, which I'll show you in a little bit. Tools, knickknacks, cables, little clamps for our Amazon Basics shelves. Lastly, this doesn't work, but this was my first ever amplifier that I ever got when I first started out DJing. I bought this on eBay, and I remember it came with 2 speakers and tripods. Funny thing was that the speakers didn't even have a cup mount for tripods, so I don't even know what the hell the tripods were for. I used to literally have my speakers on the ground and plug them into this amp, put my speakers down, my amp on top, and then my Hercules controller on top of that. So this is what I used to DJ with back on the day. This bottom one is really cool. These are the Avery tags that I was talking to you guys about. Like I said, it has all my info right there. I don't want to show too much of a close-up because I don't want you guys calling me. Don't ever call me, guys. I hate it when you guys call me. Make me feel like a bad guy, but I don't like it when you guys call me. And then underneath that, I have decals, all different sizes. If we ever get more cases or some need to get replaced. We have more of these Ryobi batteries for my power tools, and that same thing that's powering our light right now. These are smaller ones that came with my tool, and behind it is the charger. Photo booth stuff here, pens, papers, you guys get it. All that stuff is in there. I have stock of the foam sticks, and then I have some brand new speakers that were sent to me for review. These are the Harbinger speakers. I also have the LD Systems Maui 5 Go that was sent to me for review. These 2 cases house gear that was sent to me for review. I keep saying that, but this one houses lights from China. I used to do this segment on my channel called Mail Time. I don't really do it that much anymore because you guys were complaining, saying that you guys didn't like the lights. So thanks for killing Mail Time. Up there we have some more lights that I just don't get to use. We come down here, we have more lights. These are my ADJ Focus Spot 2Zs, which I recently made a video on. My JMass battery powered lights. These little lights are awesome. More people need to buy these lights. Over here I have some Colorado Sound and Light, and I have the case right here which actually houses them. I know video doesn't do a good job of perspective, but you take a look at my ADJ up lights, look at how big those things are. Over here is some retired equipment that I just don't use. I have a ton of other lights that were sent to me for review. I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea about lights that were sent to me for review. I know a lot of you guys love to say, oh, you get all this free stuff, oh, you get all this free stuff. If you really want free stuff from companies, here's what you got to do. Make a YouTube channel, grow it to up to 50,000 subscribers, make about, I don't know, about 400 videos or so, accumulate about 10 million views, and then you might get a $100 uplight from China. I sometimes get a little bit frustrated when people are like, oh, you get all this free stuff. It was not free. I worked really hard. The reason why these companies trust me with their gear is because they know, A, I'm gonna work really hard on the video for them, and B, it's an audience. The biggest thing, if you want stuff from companies, you need an audience. So you guys get it. Companies just want eyes on their product. It's got nothing to do with you email them and asking them for stuff. So please guys, don't get the wrong idea. I am a lucky individual that I get to do this, but it sure as hell ain't free. So stop saying that it's free. It ain't free. I pay with my time. Now with that being said, let me show you all the stuff that was sent to me by companies. So I just showed you guys the Harbinger speakers that were sent to me from Guitar Center. I showed you guys the LD system sent by Adam Hall. But the most recent one that was sent to me that I'm most excited about are these guys right here. These, my friends, are from Martin Audio. Oh my god. Martin Audio is a legendary audio brand. Their equipment is usually what you see in concert halls, concerts, festivals, all that stuff is usually Martin Audio. And this is their mobile DJ friendly line of speakers. These are the Blackline X powered. There's a Blackline X that's not powered, so this is a brand new model. This is probably one of the most expensive products that have ever been sent to me. The sub is about 1,500 bucks, and that speaker top is about 1,200 bucks. Bummer is I wasn't sent two speaker tops, so it's gonna make reviewing these a little bit tough because I can only use this as a monitor. I can't use it as my main PA because I only have one. Now this one here actually houses a photo booth. I'm gonna be making a review on it. It's actually not a photo booth, it's actually an iPad booth. It's a social booth, and I'm going to be making a video on that real soon. Moving on, we have a couple of cases here that I want to show you guys. Each one of them houses different things. Two bottom ones are the most notable. This one houses my photo booth stuff. So this is the table scrim that we use. It's the black one. Camera cleaning kit for my DSLR inside of the photo booth. Print catcher right here for my printers. I have two right there, and I typically bring both to each event. Trust me, I've learned the hard way. You need two printers. You'll thank me one day. USB extensions, glue and pens for the scrapbook, more tools and batteries, extra media just in case we run out of media or our printers run out of media, and lastly we have all the cables that we'll ever need for photo booth. This next big one here houses my CO2 blasters. These are not to be confused with my CO2 gun. These are stationary, so more or less these are cannons that shoot from the ground. All that's in there is just two blasters and two hoses and DMX cables. Those are DMX. All the way in the back are 3 milk crates. So these house our tripods. I have multiple tripods and I keep them all inside of these gator bags. They are all labeled with these tags right here. This one says camera tripods. You can obviously tell which one's the biggest one. It's this one right here. That is our speaker tripod. I bring 3 tripods, 2 for my speakers and 1 for my monitor right there. Behind all these are extra old tripods that I don't use anymore. Some of them are broken. I don't even know why I keep them. These cool things are called defenders. They're actually channels for your cables so that you don't have to gaff tape. I've been loving them. This is like one of those things that were sent to you for review and you just end up using at every single event. So I always bring these out and those out together. I grab my 2 tripod bags, 1 camera, 1 speakers, and then I grab my defender so I don't have to hide any cables. Our 2 rock and roller cards, I have 2 of them. This was the smallest one you can get. I think that's the R12, and that's a bigger version of this. Little one is actually older than that big one, and this little one is actually a lot better than that big one. That big one handles like a shopping cart. It goes like this. Oh, it's so annoying. Lastly, right there in the middle with a straight line of sight from the door straight back is our sub, our console, and our SRX speakers. I'm actually missing one speaker right now because one of them is being serviced. I actually dropped it. In here we have my console, which if you guys watch my gig logs, you guys know what it is. We have the SRX 828 sub. A lot of you guys get pissed when you see people on top of my sub, but that's actually why I bought it. I want people on top of that thing partying, firing off CO2, going nuts. I want all the hot ladies on top there. Gives me a nice view while I'm DJing. My monitor is actually a speaker that's been with me for a really long time. Since I started accumulating all this gear, this speaker has been with me. This is a PRX 712, and this is what I use as my monitor. So as you guys can see, I keep a lot of these little dollies. I have one there, and I like having these because it makes things so much easier to move. This right here is my set of uplights. A lot of you guys ask me, do you use the Ape Labs, do you use the Elements, do you use the Colorado Sound and Light? So I actually accumulated quite a lot of these, which is why these are my go-to uplights, because not because they're the best, because I have a couple of issues with these, which I'll address in another video, but the reason why these are my go-to uplights is because they have ADJ's Wi-Fi technology, which I desperately need. I have 24 of these and then another 4 in there, so you do the math. I have 28 of these uplights. I do use my Ape Labs a lot more than you would think, because my Ape Labs go out each and every time that they don't have lighting with me. So if they don't have dance floor lighting, or they didn't want up lighting with me, they just want DJ services, the Ape Labs are coming out, because those are super easy and simple to use. Towards the back here, it's more or less storage. I don't want to get too crazy with this because a lot of this stuff you guys probably don't care about. I never shared it with you guys, but I do have an S9 and I do have turntables. I actually gifted those to myself, and those turntables live at my house. I never take them out. This is an old flight case that used to house my CDJs. I got rid of it because it was broken. It was on its last leg. Middle flight case houses my second DJ system that I ever had, that I still keep to this day. Those are the Radius 1000s, and I did make a video on that. If you just gotta search my YouTube channel here for those. Those are the speakers that I showed you guys that didn't have cup mounts, or pole mounts I should say, that go with that amp. These actually aren't the original ones. These are second ones that I bought from Radio Shack, but same problem, no pole mount. And I just keep them just because of sentimental value. I don't even know if they work. They probably still do work. And then on top of that is all storage stuff, all storage. So over here we have Barr Entertainment t-shirts. By the way, shop my merch down below. Next to it we have Barr Entertainment merch, such as flyers that we give out at shows, and you guys know all that free stuff that DJs give out. At middle one here houses all my photography stuff. So this one has a bunch of camera gear, a bunch of white balance cards. This one has the same thing, photography lights, tripods, a bunch of that stuff. We have scrims for both Totems and Facade. In here I have table scrims, Facade scrims, tripod scrims, everything you can think of as far as scrims are in here. And lastly, we have our overstock on photo booth stuff. So the holidays just recently passed. I purchased way too much of the Santa stuff, but they was just super cheap at Sherman Specialty. They were like, oh yeah, it's like a dozen for like $2. So I was just like, all right, give me like 3 dozen. So I got way too many hats. See some sun stashes there. Again, Sherman Specialty is the way to go. And actually they recently sent me that guy right there. That is a marshmallow hat. I'm really excited about it. Look at it, it's that marshmallow helmet. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna be using that at my next couple of gigs. And we've made it to the end. Shout out to everybody who made it to the end here. We are here at the last section. This one's pretty straightforward. We have our totems. I have 4 Global Trust America 2-meter or 6.5 feet totem. All of them are housed inside of this case, and they are all entirely pre-wired with Wi-Fi EXR hex pars. They're all labeled with those luggage tags that I showed you from before. Those are awesome. Oh, look at what I did just for you guys. I'm over here wrecking my stuff. Next to it are the Facade lights. You guys know I use the ADJ UB bars. I made a video on those in the past. On the right hand side we have our Facade ADJ Facade 5 panels inside. Lastly, on the bottom inside of this case right here we have cases, and bags. A lot of that stuff is probably garbage. I just refuse to get rid of it. It's a bunch of ripped bags and stuff. Okay, my friends, you have seen it all. I have gone through each and every single department here in my storage unit. I've showed you the ins and outs of what I do. I doubt you'll have any questions, but I'm damn sure you'll have a lot of comments based on all this gear that I just showed you. Let me know what you guys think. Is this cluttered for you? Is this organized for you? Is this OD for you? I've gotten all that. Sometimes I get people saying, oh, it's a little bit wonky in here, and some people are like, wow, this is like super OCD. I honestly spend a lot of time in here because sometimes shit breaks, and when it breaks I have to come in here and address the situation. I'm constantly updating my gear, trying to make it more efficient, and I'm constantly just going through here and figuring out what I can do better. So that's just a glimpse of how I do it. If you have any suggestions for me, any tips for me, I'd love to hear them down in the comments below. Thank you bros so much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it. This was a bit of a tough one to make. It was a long video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and if you really want to help me out, don't forget to turn on that bell so you can be notified next time we do another video on my gear. Gear Tour 2021, anybody? See ya.